once again to another edition of Holding Court with Todd Dagenais along with the coach. I'm Jeff Sharon. UCF coming off of a tremendous 2 matches over the past weekend. They come up with 2 victories against UAB and Memphis. Both of them very tight, coach. One of them even about as tight as it could possibly be, and the other one certainly as tight as it could be for a 3-setter. But we'll start with with looking back at the UAB match. You guys get a thrilling victory in 5. How big was that to come through on the home court in front of the home fans on homecoming weekend and get that victory over UAB in 5?
Well, for all those reasons, it's huge. But I think the biggest part of it is that we've never beaten UAB since we've been here. I think they've won maybe 9 in a row on us or something. And that was one of those schools that's always been our bugaboo. And we finally got a chance where we could get them at home, and we were able to neutralize them and come out of there with a win. So we can't even underestimate how big of a win that is for us and for our psyche to go ahead and knock off another one of those teams that we had never beaten before. Statistically,
and you've said this before, sometimes it's, in volleyball, obviously the numbers do lie sometimes, and I think that, and you'd said after the match that was a match where certainly the numbers did lie in your eyes.
Sure, and we can't underestimate the hidden stats. And it's one of those things where, sure, the hitting percentages may have been skewed in the other direction, but for some reason, we talk about the hidden points. We talk about the ball control that leads to 3 options. We talk about the control blocks where somebody can get their hands on a ball and we get all 3 options. And boy, when it really counted the most, we were making those big plays. Those plays in the holes, those scramble plays, the hustle plays, and the intelligent plays. And really when it mattered most, we scored the points. And sometimes those things are more important than the numbers on the stat sheet.
So UCF gets a victory on Friday of homecoming weekend. You get to party a little bit on Saturday for the game, and then right back to action on Sunday afternoon against Memphis. And it was not an easy one, even though it came out to be a 3-0 UCF sweep. That was as tight as a 3-0 match is going to get.
Sure, I mean, it was the same kind of match we had when we were up at Memphis twice, and at Marshall twice, and those kinds of things on the road tend to go towards the home team, and that's what it did for Marshall. But we get Memphis at home this time, and you're right, it was as tight of a match as it could be. Both the first 2 sets were decided deuce, and then we blew them out in the 3rd set by only 3 points. But another match where, again, the statistics were skewed towards them, but we racked up the 16 blocks, and I thought that made a huge difference. We went into the match, and we decided that it could be a great blocking match for us if we were disciplined, and we did by hitting those 16 blocks in 3 sets.
It was back and forth throughout, but I thought that really the most critical time in the match was in the 3rd when you put Sarah Rex in. We were down, I think it was something like 14 to 10 at some point, and things looked like they were on the brink a little bit, and then Sarah goes on serve, and then all of a sudden your team reels off about 5 or 6 consecutive points. Was that kind of a bonus? Did you think that would work out like that?
Well, it was, and like I said in the press later, everybody has a role on this team, and Sarah's role, she's been patiently waiting to show it, but it's really to provide energy at certain points of the match. And Tori's still overcoming the back injury, and it just was a little bit step slow in that 3rd game. And it just got into a situation where Tori's blocking, as great as it just wasn't enough. We really needed some kills out of the middle. And so we went with a change. We put Sarah in. Sarah got up right away and got a big kill. And from there, she had a great block after that, and then another quality swing, and then she went back on that little serving run. So, I mean, she had as strong of a rotation as she's had all year, and boy, did we need it at that point.
Another one of the players who was certainly solid all weekend long, I thought Evie Avilde as well was fantastic. Despite the fact that she's still fighting off that injury, Evie at 70% is still a darn good volleyball player out there for you, isn't it?
Sure, that left hand and that velocity that she can bring, and neither team really had an answer for it once she got rolling. So for us and Evie, it's trying to get her established in the match early. We have to get her swings early so she feels comfortable. And once she's comfortable, she's a pretty formidable attacker, as the other teams saw this weekend.
When we take a look really at how things have shaped up to this point, right now you're 12-10, 5-5 in the league, all alone in 6th place, still right in the thick of that group of teams in the middle in Conference USA. One of the key players that I think has really stepped up for you, Rachel Vooks, and we've talked about it time and time again, but you said afterwards that that things are going well when a coach and the setter are on the same page mentally during a match. Tell me a little bit more about that and how you and she work together to get the team in the position that you want it to be night in and night out.
Well, you really want your setter to live in the moment, and sometimes it gets so crazy out there, especially in those tight games that we were playing, that you can really lose that. And it was nice because I just saw the look in her face. There was no panic. She saw the same floor that I saw, and she knew the matchups that she wanted to get, and she knew the location that she had to put it in. And that's a priceless quality in a setter. And she was in charge out there. And I think that was a big difference for us on the floor, is that Rachel knew exactly what she wanted to do, and she was going to go out there and do it. Did a great job.
How well have well, obviously it shows in the numbers, but how well have the players, the younger players, responded to that veteran leadership that she does bring in, even though she comes from another school that was within the conference?
Right, it's confidence, and she walks on the floor and she's confident. She's been a winner at every level she's ever played at, and she gets on the floor and she expects to win. And so on those clutch moments where some players, especially inexperienced players, might doubt, hey, can I really do this? She's looking them in the eye and saying, not only are you going to do it, you're going to do it right now. And that kind of demanding presence of a setter that's confident on the floor really inspires everybody to play their best.
So UCF finds itself in a very, very interesting position so far in the conference season. Like you said, we're halfway through the conference year. Coming up, you're gone on the road for a very, very tough road trip against the top two teams in Conference USA. Friday at SMU, Sunday at Tulsa, who we talked about before we went on, number 27 in the country. They have the longest win streak in the NCAA. Any way you slice the numbers, they're looking really good, but you can't look ahead to that. You're looking forward to SMU and Dallas. Tell me what the Mustangs present to your team.
Well, heading back to the weekend, first of all, every conference has that weekend that you just dread. In the Big Ten, it's the Ohio State, Penn State road trip. In the Pac-10, it's the Cal Stanford or the USC UCLA road trip. And for us this year, it's the SMU Tulsa road trip. That's just one of those challenges. Tulsa at 27, and SMU's not that far behind them. They're a top 50 RPI team, and challenges abound. But it's really nice for a young team just to be able to step in, having won 5 of the last 6. And really, Jeff, where we are, we're 1 win away from our best conference win total. We're 2 wins away from beating it, and we're just hitting the turn right now. So there's so many things for us to look forward to, and nothing would be better than to break that record on the road with the odds stacked against us. And that's what we're going to go into. We're going into it to beat these teams. We're not going to back down from anybody. We respect them, but we're going in there to beat them, and we're trying to end that streak.
How are the players looking forward to this weekend? Especially coming off, of course, their confidence is high coming off the 2 victories. How has that been carrying over since then as you make this pivot now towards these 2 tough road matches?
Well, I think having the wins under your belt eliminates the panic urgency. What it does now, it creates a different kind of urgency. It's an excitement urgency. Look at what we have the opportunity to do now. And yes, we are good enough to accomplish that opportunity. And so I think it's just a complete change of the psyche. Instead of being afraid to lose, now we can start playing to win.
Tell me who you think is going to have to really step up this weekend to get done what you want to get done.
The whole team. I think this is one of those opportunities for everybody just to play loose and free. We're going to need performance from all 3 outside hitters. I think that's the big thing. And our middles are going to have to be big in transition, and they're going to have to continue to block at the level that they've been blocking the last couple weekends. SMU has got some quality middles, but really they're grounded by their 3 outside hitters. And if we can slow them down and get into a point-scoring race with them, I think that gives us our best chance of beating them on Friday. When we head into Tulsa, really they're keyed by the #1 hitter in the country. There's no one in the country that's scoring more points than this kid, and their setter's the #1 setter in the country. Yeah. So that's what we have to face. Now, do we decide that we're going to let that player go off and stop all the other players, or are we going to stop that player and try to let the other players beat us? And that's what we're still trying to decide in our film and our game planning, and we're not going to let it out right now, sorry. But what we're going to do is, we're going to get into that. We're going to come up with a solid game plan, and we might even change it up back and forth a little bit, see if we can keep them confused. And the nice thing is the last time that we played at Tulsa, we beat them. Yeah. That was our very first year here. We went there and we were able to beat them in 3. So we've had success in that gym on that road trip. I think this is a much more talented team than what we played back then, but we're a much more talented team now than we were 2 years ago. So I don't think it's going to be a roll over and die situation. It's a good chance for us to go in there and create some national news.
I know that obviously you can't divulge too much, but how much of a help is it also having Rachel Vuxen, former Tulsa player, on your roster? How has she helped to scout out what you guys are going to see when that match takes place on Sunday?
I think in terms of preparation, certainly she knows those players well. You know, she knows what their sweet spot is. But still, when it comes down to it, it's execution. It's Tulsa executing their offense, it's us executing our defense, and then vice versa. Because even if you know something is coming in volleyball, it's really difficult to stop if it's well executed. And so it's just going to come down to execution. And you know, really, we depend on our scouting. Certainly, we depend on, you know, what her thoughts are and what she thinks their weaknesses are. But they're a different team even now than what they were last year. And so it's a lot more difficult for her to determine exactly what they can and can't do this year because they're a year older and a year more mature.
Stepping back and looking at the big picture now, do you prefer going into a big weekend? You've been around, you know, so many huge volleyball matches all throughout the country, wherever that you've been. Do you prefer to have your team go into a weekend like this on the road really loose and footloose and fancy free, or really, really hyper-focused, or is there a middle ground between the two?
I think there's a middle ground between the two, but I do think it's more important to be loose and free. You cannot play scared. And you know, that was one of the fun things that I learned out at USC is watching Pete Carroll work with his teams. And you know, so a lot of people accused him of being too loose. There was a reason for that. I mean, the amount of pressure that was on those guys to win weekend in and weekend out, he had to keep it loose. He had to keep it fun. And you know, and we're hitting the grind of the season right now. Late October, it really separates the pretenders from the contenders. And if you want to be a contender, you have to be able to perform this time of year. How do you do that? You have to stay loose. You have to play free. You have to stay in the moment. And you have to celebrate little things. And really, you can see that's the kind of team that we're starting to become now. It's a lot more fun to watch them play.
At this position right now, 12-10 overall, 5-5 in Conference USA, are you at the position that you want to be heading into this last half of the conference season?
That's a tough question, Jeff. You know, is it where I want to be? No, I want to be in first place, and I want to be undefeated. You know, what's realistic? I think for this team, and the fact that we've got 6 of the 7 starters are underclassmen, first-year experience, we're not in a bad position. You know, we're far better off now than what we were a year ago or 2 years ago, and we've set ourselves up for a really nice second half. So I guess in that aspect, I'm pleasantly pleased with where we are. But, you know, we're a program that wants to be a champion. We're a program that wants to compete for championships. And I think as we go along in the future, we want to be here 10-0, 9-1, you know, something like that with something to look forward to going to the second half. So, you know, right now we get a chance to play spoiler for somebody. I think that the chance to win a conference championship are probably slim. But we have a chance to do some things, and we have a chance to break a lot of records, and we have a chance to get a lot of firsts in program history. And really, that's what we're holding on to right now.
So it seems like kind of you guys are heading towards the undiscovered country, if you will. The players have to be excited about that, too, that they are finally realizing that they're doing things that this program either has never done or hasn't done in quite some time.
Right, exactly. It hasn't, things that they haven't done in Conference USA for sure since we've been in Conference USA. So there's a lot of things to look forward to, and there's, you know, still a ton of optimism. You think it was the middle of August right now, and it's not. It's the end of October, and yet we're really fresh, and I really just love the place that the team is in right now.
All right, well, it's going to be a tough place for UCF heading out on the road out to SMU and Tulsa, but if you're going to be the best, you got to beat the best coaches league, as you know just as well. And now we're going to have 2 big important matches coming up, and we're going to see how the rest of the season shapes up. Don't forget, if you want to follow both of those matches, UCF is on the road in Dallas at SMU on Friday, at Tulsa on Sunday. Log on to UCFathletics.com. You can check the match out on Game Tracker or on CBS All Access as well, since they are Conference USA matches. And as well, if you want to follow the Knights all season long, log on to UCFathletics.com. You can also follow the Knights on Facebook. Go to Facebook.com/UCF Volleyball, or follow the Knights on Twitter. UCF_volleyball is the Twitter handle. Coach, best of luck on the road this weekend. We'll see you when you get back from out west.
Hey, and good luck to you this weekend, too. I don't know if everybody out there knows, but Jeff here is going to be married on Saturday. He's joining the ranks of the married guys. So best wishes to you and your new bride.
Well, thank you very much, Coach, and thank you to all the fans. And also, I got a lot of good notes on how to survive married life from you as well. So I want to thank you for that as well, for that advice. Well, for the coach, Todd Dagenais, I'm Jeff Sharon. This has been Holding Court with the Coach. We will catch you when the Knights return from the SMU Tulsa road trip. Until then, take care, have a great week, and go Knights!